Hey guys, Dr. John Sego with Texas Right to Life here. Wanted to give you an update. We just had a big day in the Texas Capitol for the pro-life movement. We had our hearing in the Senate State Affairs Committee on our top two priority bills. Our top bills this session is to address the two big threats to Texans right now dealing with abortion. There's two new trends that the enemy is still using to take the life of Texans through abortion. That's travel, using taxpayer dollars to fund women to travel outside of the state. And we also have this other threat of the abortion pill websites selling and mailing abortion pills directly to women. And we have two priority bills that we have filed this session we're working on this session. They were both heard in the Senate today. Senate State Affairs had a great hearing. Anytime that this issue is debated, we're going to have good testimony from pro-life experts. We're also going to see some very interesting testimony. So I want to show you a couple of highlights of a couple of things we weren't expecting to hear in committee, but we did today. We saw that there were some arguments being made that actually the Bible is pro-abortion. They actually tried to make that with a straight face, and as you'll hear here, is trying to argue that it's okay to have an abortion because life doesn't really begin in the womb. And so some very selective biblical readings. Want you to see for yourself.
Biblically, life begins with breath, not conception or heartbeat. In Ezekiel 37 and Genesis 2:7, the Hebrew word is nephesh, meaning breath, life breath, and essential self. Harold Lindsell, editor of Billy Graham's magazine and a promoter of biblical inerrancy, once wrote, "God does not regard the fetus as a soul," and he quoted Exodus 21:22 through 24. Jesus said nothing about abortion.
We also saw some crazy some accusations about pro-lifers individual. We saw, one of the testimony that came out against our bills was trying to compare the new Texas pro-life elected officials, similar to those that were on the witch hunts, I guess, and trying to compare stopping abortion, saving lives, to witch hunting and going after women because you think that they are witches. So that was another one that was a head scratcher for us. Here's just a small clip of how that really surprising logic went.
I ask you, why do you hate women? In 1487, Heinrich Kramer, a German magisterial clergyman, published the Malleus Maleficarum, a handbook used for over 300 years to hunt, torture, and kill women accused of witchcraft. Midwives, healers, and helpers were labeled dangerous. The worst of them is the good witch. Kramer and his ilk feared women, and Senate Bill 2880 revives that fear. It deputizes private citizens to sue anyone who offers a ride, a meal, or childcare to someone seeking an abortion, even out of state. This isn't about protection, it's about control. Don't let this legislation be the first chapter in the Malleus's second edition.
Now, of course, it wasn't all bad. We actually had some fantastic testimony from pregnancy centers were some of the strongest voices we heard. Pregnancy center directors and volunteers and medical directors were here in the Capitol telling the senators firsthand what they're seeing, what women around the state are facing.
Around 10 women every week come in seeking care from the abortion pills that they've taken. I want to tell you about Amila, a Texas resident who endured a botched chemical abortion in New Mexico and then went back when it was still retained and then had a botched surgical abortion. Back home in Texas, she was in agony. She passed her baby in the toilet. Terrified, she took the remains back to the abortion clinic, cradling them in a plastic bag, seeking answers, and then begging for the baby's return after they were examined. But when the facility refused to return the evidence of their malpractice, she got emotional. And the abortion facility called the police for her disturbing the peace. We actually have a video of her being dragged out of the abortion facility in handcuffs, still bleeding and shouting, "They stole my baby. I'm in so much pain."
I've had patients report that they just received pills in the mail. No instructions or information, and in some cases the pills aren't even labeled, so they have no idea what pills to take and in what order to take them. I've had patients report that the pain and cramping was the worst pain that they have ever experienced and lasted for several days. This was a surprise to some of them because they were never told of any side effects. They're sometimes told it's just like a normal period and there's nothing to worry about.
Out of concern for the women that we serve, I wanted to see what it took to order abortion pills. An internet search on the term abortion pills near me took me to a website where I filled out a 10-question form. An unmarked envelope arrived in my mailbox just 2 days later. Inside this envelope were 3 pouches marked 1, 2, and 3. Inside each of these pouches were unsecured pills placed between 2 makeup remover pads. The pills are not marked. There was no instructions, no dosage, no safety information was included. Not one written word was in this envelope. The only follow-up I received was an email telling me how to lie about what I had ordered. This is not healthcare.
Most of the time, these drugs, when they come to these women, are unlabeled, as you've seen with Kelly. If they are labeled, they have no instructions or 8 pages of instructions in a foreign language, such as Russian, that no one can read. These women are then left alone because they're afraid to tell anyone that they're having this abortion, and so they're left in their bathrooms to become their own abortion provider and are blindly performing these in their bathrooms. I've had women come in and show me pictures of clots the size of lemons that they have passed in their bathroom, most of which they have been told to pick through to look for their aborted child. One woman said, "There was so much blood, I had to wear adult diapers." And it's devastating for so many women in Texas and families, and not only the children that are dying because they're allowed to get these pills in the mail, but their mental health is suffering because of what they are going through and seeing in their bathrooms at home alone.
So we saw some great pro-life leaders saying, hey, here are real stories, real Texas women who are coming into the clinic after taking abortion pills, having already ordered the abortion pills, or seeing the websites and thinking about ordering them. So we heard some powerful testimony from a new ally to the pro-life movement. And Lindsay, who testified, she said that the last time she was in that chamber in the Senate, she was there cheering on Wendy Davis, who was trying to kill pro-life legislation. And now Lindsay has been converted. She is pro-life, and she has a powerful perspective for the pro-life movement.
I believe life begins at conception, but I did not always believe that. The last time I was in this room was 2013 during Wendy Davis's filibuster. I was up there, very excited. And after that, I founded an organization called Fund Texas Choice. It's very interesting to hear my brainchild be mentioned today by various speakers, but I really did believe at the time that people should have a right to terminate their pregnancies. But after getting my law degree and after having my children, I thought about it a little bit more. And I decided that I couldn't go along with the idea that an individual person gets to make up their mind on when life begins, and it's different for everyone depending how they feel. I know from experience that an abortion access organization is fighting very hard to get around the law. That's their purpose. The idea is that abortion is difficult to access, and so with money and with volunteers, it becomes a lot easier, especially for the poor women who can't afford it otherwise. And in a way, that's kind of a alarming admission, right? That specifically they're helping the poorest women get the most abortions. I cannot imagine all of the harm I could have done with $500,000. So please make sure that the cities are not funding it. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm so happy that Lindsay came and is now a partner trying to save lives, to help us pass these bills, to stop the pain of abortion, to stop using taxpayer dollars to help women travel outside of the state. That is powerful testimony. The last thing I want to highlight is that, of course, your pro-life lobby team from Texas Right to Life was here in force. The pro-life team from Texas Right to Life was here to testify. I got to testify a couple of times, our legislative director, Ashley. But I think one of the most powerful things we heard from the Texas Right to Life team was concrete examples of how how extreme that the other side is going to promote abortion pill websites on college campuses. And so we heard from Brittany, who works on our education department, and we heard from Tiffany, who is actually one of our scholars.
In my role, I have the privilege of mentoring college students across the state that are highly involved in their pro-life student organizations. According to the students that my team mentors, and from my own observation during my time in college, we have seen an increase in the advertisements for illegal abortion pills on campuses. The abortion industry claims they offer compassionate care, but these pills are dangerous. I can tell you that support of abortion pills occurs even at an institutional level. For example, during my time at the University of Texas, I attended a fertility and reproduction class where we heard an entire lecture on abortion pills by mail.
I am a student at the University of Texas. I serve as leader of Horns for Life, a pro-life student organization on campus, and I am also a legislative intern for Texas Right to Life. As a student, I have personally seen stickers posted around campus containing QR codes that direct young women to websites offering to ship them abortion pills.
This is critical that we give our senators concrete examples, and this is some of the expert testimony that we were able to bring from the Texas Right to Life team. When you partner with Texas Right to Life, you help us be here on the front lines, not just on college campuses or in the courthouse, but here in the Texas Capitol. And that's what we were doing today, is making the case for the Senate State Affairs Committee that they need to prioritize these bills that will save lives by addressing using taxpayer dollars to have women travel outside of the state, but also to stop those abortion pill websites. We only have about 67 days left this session to get these bills across the finish line. So we need your support. We need your help. Thank you for partnering with Texas Right to Life to save lives here in Texas.